told you I'd see you again, didn't I?
Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon. So, for this stream, I thought I followed up on one of the requests on YouTube to add player animations. So, um, I was thinking we would do that. First of all, let me show you quickly where we left off, and so we're in our stream Mixamo project.
I told you I'd see you again, didn't I?
So I apologize for the noise behind it, as Twitch decided to monetize on pretty much anything nowadays, apparently. So let's open up this project here. Okay, so currently we have our state set up where you can crouch, walk, crouch, the regular walk, but we don't have a jump, right? So we're going to try and add that as well. And let me see, hopefully I can see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, so we have a few things that we need to take care of. And I'm thinking, let's start off, since we have the engine started up, we'll actually add our jump tags. So let me close a few things here. And I'm hoping Twitch works as expected. Okay, so let's go to Tools, Animation, Mannequin Editor. Make this thing a little bigger here. Okay, so currently we only have walk, crouch, and idle. So let's add another one. We'll go into File, Tag Definition Editor, and there's this little thing. It's kind of hard to tell which one's which. New tag. You just have to roll over them and see what's up. So we'll call this jump. Okay, and okay. So let's see. We usually have to save this just because it's not loading it by default. So let's also close the window and reopen that Mannequin editor. So we should be able to see it in here. There it is. Okay, so the one thing I'm not liking it is that I don't see it in here. So let's save changes again. Maybe we just need to close the engine. Sometimes it works like that with Cryengine for whatever reason. Alright, so let's open our test. And let's quickly look at the animation mannequin editor. And let's see if the new tag is somewhere in here. Apparently that didn't really load properly. I'm not sure why. Because I do see it down here. is what you would. Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot. We actually need to create a new ID as well. So let's do that, and we'll keep in just default. So this one is going to carry our jump. Save changes, and hopefully I should have. Let me delete this. Delete ID. Should have created it under idle. So let's do. There we go. So this is going to be jump for this one option. You have to double click on it. So there we go. We have jump, and what we need to do is add our animation to this. So just add a layer, anim layer, and you can just double click in here and select from the list. I've already imported my that jumping animation. It's not the best one, but it's a free one, so I will not complain. I'm thinking it's this one. Let's quickly take a look and see what this looks like. Apparently this is not the, I think I have two of them, so this is kind of like a step up, where the player just steps up on something. So let's see, I know I have a separate jumping in place. I think this might be it. Let's play this real quick. Yeah, that looks a little better. There it is. Okay, and let's also add it to the third person here. Anim layer, double click, and jumping in place. So this one currently has a blend in. So I'll keep it for now. I haven't played a lot with the blends, just so to see if it improves the transition between animations. Alright, so let's go ahead and save these changes and save. And now we'll jump into do a little bit of C++. Okay. So we need to do a few things here. We need to add a tag for that animation, right? So first of all, let's go into our header file and create one of these tag IDs. So I'll probably place it right here on the tag. So we got a tag ID, and we'll call this m underscore. Let's call it jump tag ID. Okay. So since we're on the animation section here, let's also make sure that we're setting that state to depending on what the player state is at the time. So let's jump into player animations, and we'll let's add it. Let's try to keep things in order. So I had it right under the walk tag. So this is going to be, let's put it down here, I guess. So I'm just going to copy this line and we want to set the state to be the m jump tag ID. This to happen if travel speed is greater than 0.2. And this is also something else to keep in mind. Since we're working with these states, I also check to see if the player is or not on ground. So we actually have this little nifty helper right here. It's already checking on that, so we can just copy that and place it right here. And for this state, we want to change this and call it, if you remember from last time we created these states, we created one that's called jumping. Alright, so that will be pretty much for the part of the player animations. Now let's make sure that we have an action for this, right? Because when you press the space key, we want the player to, to receive that action. So let's go into player input. I'm not sure if we've already added this in a previous stream, or we're gonna have to add it. So I don't see it here. It's only moving. Apparently not. Okay, so let's go to our game directory here. Let's see where it was my thing. Let's reveal an explorer, and we'll add that action. So let's go into let's see, I can't remember. I always seem to be missing where this is at. I think it's usually assets, libs, config, and let's see, do we have a default profile? It's probably the one right in here, default profile.xml. So let's just drag this, come on. Okay, so I'm actually just going to copy this is all you need to do, just add this new action in here. Oh, actually this is the crouch, so I want the space. And as you can see, this one is not going to be a kind of a hold like the crouch is, because we only hit, jump once, and we can hold it down. It's going to keep repeating it, but I don't really like that. So at least for now, I'm just going to keep it as on press and on release. Okay, so we have that added to our default profile. Let's go ahead and actually implement that on action jump. So let's go to player input.h, and let's see where do we want to place this. So we'll probably place it somewhere around here. I'm just going to copy the on crouch action, duplicate that, and this is going to be on action jump, and everything else can stay the same. Okay, so we have this little light bulb. We can create the definition and create definition. So there we have it. And let's see, we want to implement this now. And I'm using my little cheat sheet so I don't skip any of the steps involved in this. So this is going to be pretty simple. We can just do a quick copy from here and place it right here. Now for this one, we also need to have another input flag, and let's go ahead and save this player input. Alright, and let's close out of this. So I'm just going to move this OBS window over here. Okay, so and I kind of misspelled it. I'm not misspell it, but I like to have these names a little bit more, camel case like. Okay, so the one thing that we need to add, there's in our player input.h, there's a little struct with our flags. So let's add our jump, and I'll probably just add it right at the end of this, or maybe I'll just change this to 5, so we'll have the crouch at the end. So this is going to be an e input flags, and we'll call this underscore jump, and we'll also give it a 1 and assign it to 4. Okay, so now when in our player input.cpp, whenever we hit the jump, it's gonna handle this input flag change. Okay, but one thing that we also need to do is in our initiate action handler, let's not forget to add that handler. So let's just copy one of those lines and move it down here. So the action ID is the action ID that you have in here, which is going to be jump. So it's this one, and we've got jump. And the on action is going to be on action. I need to delete a little more. On action jump. Okay, perfect. So with that said, we're pretty much all done with this triggering an action on jump. So if we want to see that, let's try and work with our states, the states that we worked on last time. So let's go into player input.cpp, and if you remember, we have all these states over here, and if I recall correctly, we've also not in player movement, but in let's see, where did we create that the player state? So let's see, did we create that in player? We did. So when we created the states, we also added this EPS jumping state. So we're going to use that in our player input to determine if we need to set the state to something else. So let's see. We're in player input, and we want to add right after this. We'll add the case of player state jumping. So let's copy this here, and this is going to be EPS and jumping. So let's see, what do we want to have happening when this is the case. So the way I was able to get this to work, and also let's add a little debug statement here through that persistent debug. This is just going to be jumping maybe. So in order to actually keep the state, we want to see if the player is on ground or not. So, and this is one of the kind of the peculiarities that I run into, and I wasn't able to figure out why. But I had to do, if the player is not on ground, which is a little bit counterintuitive, and I'm not sure why, but at least this is what worked for me. Then I set the player state, so mp player m_state. So then I set this to the player state to moving. So as I was saying, even to me this was a little bit counterintuitive, because initially I thought that, okay, if it's on ground, then set this to this, because when it's jumping, it won't be on ground. And I'll show you that next, because we need to create some kind of movement when we're jumping, right? Because we want to move that collision capsule so the player jumps over an obstacle. So let's go into player movement.cpp. So in here, all the way down to get local move direction. Alright, so let's put it somewhere down here at the bottom. So if we can just actually just copy one of these if statements here, and our input flag for this one is going to be jump. So if that is the case, we want to do a couple of things. So our move direction on the z-axis, we want to increment that. And again, this is I did this a little bit by trial and error. 10 seemed to have worked for me. If depending on your implementation, it might be a little different. Okay, and then I set the player state m_state to be player state jumping, so that we know we're in a jumping state, and then this player input is going to kick in. Alright, so Oscar is commenting. You have angular momentum, velocity vector, your speed is not zero, so you are moving probably due to not do double jump, which means infinite jumps. Right, so unfortunately I haven't delved into this that much as far as what can happen if, and here, let me just show you Oscar's comment. To look into the angular momentum, I'm assuming, or the velocity vector. So I'm not entirely sure if I can perform infinite jumps, considering that I don't have the hold action for this key. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So with that said, let's do a quick compile and see what we have happening. Oh yes, so this makes more sense. Thank you, Oscar, for explaining that. Um, so Oscar mentioned, oh come on, Windows, don't be stupid. If you are checking to be on ground, then when you try to jump, you can jump when jumping. Yes, so let's actually try that out, and let's go to our project and see what happens when we jump during a jump. But first of all, let's see if we can jump. So that's the first step. Alright, let's open our test level here. And we have our player. And currently it's just... Okay, so my apologies about that. It's extremely hot where I am currently, where I live. So it probably just reached the max operating temperature on my computer. So it was, it just rebooted. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Oscar. So last time, right before the stream cut off, we were just doing this, and we were trying to jump, but nothing happens. So when I press the space key, which is, you know, it's a little good because we know that there is an action being registered. So let's go ahead and look at this in Explorer and go to our solutions. And I'm also gonna pull up my little test project to have that open on the side. Okay, so let's see, we have input and movement. So the player animations. Let's make sure this is all set in here, we're not missing anything. And we have the player input. So whenever it's jumping, and the player movement. Let's see if we're missing anything in here. Alright, so let's take a quick peek at if I was missing anything out of here. Alright, so this looks about right. And you have the input flag. And the player input. So the player input is here. Let's actually make sure that if I remove this is on ground, let's do a quick build. So one thing that I've noticed is also the fact that my whole jumping trigger is not being called. So I'm kind of starting to think that also missing something in player input. So we have this correct on action jump. And let's actually change this to return true. Let's try this. And still nothing. So let's do some searching around here and see what might be missing. So an action jump, let's do a quick cry log. This is pretty pretty quick kind of thing to see if we actually get this action happening. And I actually need my little console. Oh, the input flag is wrong, you think? Yeah, let's look at that real quick. Okay, so it is getting that action. But what's happening? So we have one action jump. Oh, yes, you're correct, Oscar. Thank you so much. Um, I knew there was something missing. So it's usually just the copy and paste errors. Alright, let's take a look. And see what happens now. Yeah, thanks again, Oscar. So there we go. The player is actually moving. As you can see, it's actually jumping. And Oscar was right, indeed. Well, I mean, it looks like, at least for this player, that plus 10 was a little low. So let's increase that a little bit. And let's go to player movement and maybe do a plus 30. So we can tell a little better what's happening. So hopefully plus 30 would be enough. Let's see how that's going to work out. This is the good thing about doing these streams, because you know you can you have other people looking, so you find something that you missed. All right, so there we go. So now let's test what Oscar was mentioning, where you can jump while jumping. So I'm trying to hit it multiple times during a jump. It seems to be landing on the ground without without jumping again, like, you know, jumping into space. you can jump all the way into space with it. So so I think as far as that goes, we might be all set. But the thing that we're not doing is we're not animating. So let's see what's going on there. Let's go into player animations. So we're setting the jump tag ID if the travel speed is greater than this, and if the player is not on ground. Let's actually comment this out, and not comment it out, but make it so that when it's not on ground. So there must have been something, probably there was something wrong with my project where these things were flipped. So maybe it was returning false when it was on ground. Okay, so let's build. And let's see if we can play the actual animation. Not yet. It's still playing the walk-in animation, which could be, and I think this is where that issue that I ran into might be happening. Is I think this might be correct. Is on ground. But if you remember, we changed the in the player input.cpp, trying to figure out my issue with copying was this. So let's try building this again. And let's see what happens now. I was almost going to say for a second there, I thought it actually started playing it. As you can see, there's something changing there, but I'm not sure why or what. So let's see what's missing. First of all, I'm just going to tone this 30 down to maybe a 15. Hopefully that's still enough. And so let's see, what are we missing? Player animations. Oh, well, this might be one of the issues. I forgot to yeah, well, that's also part of it, but the other part of it is that I never assign anything to that jump tag. So let's add that in. That might also help with our little issue. So let's add our animation context. Find our jump tag. So this is where it's looking for the tags in the Mannequin editor. So let's try building this and jump back into our project. So let's see what happens now. Hopefully this solves some of our issues out. And there we go. We have him doing that little Cirque du Soleil kind of jumping thing. So let's also check to see for collisions. So I'm just gonna, since we're here, I'm gonna copy one of these boxes and place it somewhere around here. Okay, so hopefully that's not too tall, but we'll find out. So right now, you walk into it, you can't move forward. So this is what I was afraid of. It might be a little too tall for how the collision is moving. So let's check to see if our collision is moving just fine, but as you can see, it's not moving high enough. At least not to keep in line with the animation also. So let's go back into player movement and change this to 20. So this would be something terrific if Cryengine will have one of those, like a hot reload. I think it's what it's called. So you don't have to, shut the editor off, and then, do all this kind of shut down, restart, shut down, restart. Alright, let's see. Is that still not jumping high enough? It's almost there. So let's see if we bring this a little lower. That almost had it. But also, this is a very crude implementation of the jump. There might be something a lot better that can be done, maybe with impulses and the like. I haven't worked a lot with that, but as you can see, the animation is a little bit blown out as well. So this is just a free animation from Mixamo, where the player, just looks like it's about to hit a slam dunk, but this is kind of the gist of it. As I was saying, a little crude as far as the as far as this section here goes. So hopefully for next stream I'll do some digging into maybe a little bit of the game SDK code, or do a little bit of research online and see if there's any other ways to do this a little smoother and more in line with the animation. So as far as that goes, this is going to be it for this week. Like I said, it was going to be a short stream. I'm going to try and upload these. There's hopefully going to be 2 videos created on Twitch, and I'm hopefully going to be able to stitch them together in on YouTube and just create one video. So thanks again for stopping by, and you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next. I'll probably do some more streams during the week just for like like more of an artsy stuff, substance designer. I've been getting into that a little bit lately, and I enjoy it quite a lot. So maybe I'll do a little bit of that if I get some time. Alright, thanks again, guys. Take care.